over the course of my life, I always looked for something to latch onto, something that I could call my own. Ever since the 8th grade, basketball came into my life. My first coach taught me everything I needed to know about the game. And within, I'd say, a month or so of playing it, I knew that it would be my thing for the rest of my life. I knew that it was something that I could love, something that I could put my heart and soul into. And to this point, I'm very happy to say that all the hard work and time that I spent working on my game, traveling around, playing for different teams, different coaches, and everything that goes into being an athlete has paid off. Pretty much everything that is good has come in my life because of basketball. I think it all started when I was little and my brother was playing sports and I had to sit on the sidelines because I couldn't keep up with him running around playing sports with the neighborhood kids like I wanted to. And then one day I asked my father to lift me up, and I was able to dunk the basketball. And from that day forward, I felt invincible to the point where I could do anything. And as I hung from the rim, I knew that as long as I worked hard, the sky was the limit. For me, basketball is more than a game. On March 1st, I went to the Celtics versus the Warriors with my brother Dan. We headed into Boston around 4:30. We regularly attend Celtics games together. It's exciting and all, but since we do it on a regular basis, it was kind of an afterthought. When we arrived there, we went through our normal process of exchanging our tickets for accessible ones. We were moved to Loge Box 4, right above the court, on the overhang balcony. When the game started, after all the introductions had taken place, I noticed a kid to the left of me, about 25. I noticed something different about him, though. He was in a power chair, similar to mine. I noticed that he had a spinal cord injury, C4 to be exact, which is an injury to the fourth vertebra on the spinal cord. I wasn't sure whether or not to ask him questions about his disability, but eventually I worked up enough courage to approach him. After talking to him for a while, I found out his name was Chris, and he was with his friend Matt, who has been his best friend all his life. Matt had stuck by his side when all his friends and his girlfriend were too scared to stick around just because of his newfound disability. Throughout the game, me and Chris had casual conversation about life. Over time, as the game progressed, I got more comfortable to ask him questions about his disability. I realized that Chris wasn't as confident in himself since the accident. He was a vibrant young man with a lot of athletic ability and promise for the future. When the accident occurred, all that seemed to go out the window, and he was kind of lost. He didn't really know where to go, and was kind of searching for a direction. I saw this as an opportunity to step in and share my life story in the hopes that I would inspire change and give him hope that even though he had a disability, his life could still be rewarding. So I continued to tell Chris about my life at Stonehill College and my life as a professional wheelchair athlete and all the places I had visited, traveling around playing basketball with my team, with my family and friends by my side. Chris was very intrigued and inspired by my story, and I hope that one day, from the stories that I've told Chris, that he will feel inspired and reinvigorated with hope, just as he had inspired me on the same day that I had changed his life. I don't think that Chris realized how much his presence at the game meant to me. Because normally, going to a Celtics game is an afterthought. I'd sit in the bleachers watching the game, enjoying it, of course. But for some reason, this game was different. If you're a believer in fate, then I believe that I was called to be at that game in that certain seat next to Chris for a reason, so that I may have an opportunity to change somebody's life. When I was talking to Chris about life and about how to be optimistic despite a disability, I saw an obvious change in his expression. He went from being unsure and scared about the future to optimistic and happy. I saw a visible change in his expression from being visibly upset to overjoyed, and I can't put a price tag on what I was able to do. I would hope that God would be proud of what I did for him, and I really don't think that Chris knows that he affected me probably more than I affected him. And Chris is always going to be in my heart. I think about him every day, hoping that he still maintains that positive attitude. Because I know that my life has changed forever. It's weird how basketball always finds its way into my life in some form or another. But at this point, I'm really glad that I had this experience, because it made me realize that life is too short and you got to make the most of it when you have the opportunity to.